Welcome, Cancer, to a reading for you for July. I hope you're all doing really, really well. Your intuition is on point this month when it comes to how you're going to make money, what you want to do with your money, and your values. It's really important to check in with yourself before making any choices instead of getting outside advice, influences, that sort of thing, because you know what's right for you. You innately have this incredible strong intuition, but this month particularly, it's going to be on point. So listen up to yourself, take that time in quiet contemplation, because you've got the right answers coming to you. Your guides, your team, your spirit team are right there willing to help you through this. And it's going to happen quite quickly. Yeah. Be careful of what you think, because you are going to be manifesting it this month. So you might find that the way that you thought in the past that you were going to make money, the money that you were expecting may not have been forthcoming, and you're starting to question yourself, your guides, your spirit team. But it's been a slight redirection, I can hear, a slight change in the plans. But it's incredibly important, once again, to not envision worst case scenarios at the moment. Stop and check your mind, check your emotions to see how you feel about any choice to do with finances before you actually spend the money or do the job or whatever it is. Things aren't as bad as perceived. Let's get into it. You could be wishing upon a star. You could be buying lotto tickets or lottery tickets and envisioning your life something grander, somewhere different. Getting upset when you don't win, I hear as well. But the more you actually start to envision a better life for yourself, the more it's going to manifest in the future. So even if you do buy a lottery ticket for like a grand house or a grand car and it doesn't come to fruition, you're still putting that seed out into the universe that I would like something a bit nicer, a bit better. But in the same time, be very, very thankful for the home you have, the car you have, the things you have, instead of being in a state of lack and getting yourself all up in your head about it. The inspiration is coming, and I think you might have thought that you would have had more money by now, more stability, more savings, but it's building. Whatever you're saying out into the world about your finances, so if somebody asks you how you're going and you happen to mention work or money or something like that in a negative light, that's a chance to actually check in and go, oh, my subconscious thinks this, but my conscious mind thinks that. Once you get the idea, though, there'll be no holding you back. Know that things take time to mature, I'm hearing. So you could be waiting on a maturity of some funds in a fund of some kind. But it's at night where you're getting the inspiration. And I tell you what, you're very much speaking your reality into the world at the moment. Really concerned. You're really worried about money. You're really worried about what other people think of you as well. Don't worry about what other people think of you. Everyone's going to come from their own stuff. What you've been asked to do this month is to really decide what you think of yourself and what you truly deserve. Have you been raised in a certain way that, you could have heard when you were younger that money's the root of all evil, or do you really think you deserve that, or these sorts of things, that's only for a certain type of person will get that, that sort of thing. And be really conscious of what other people in your environment, family, friends, colleagues, and everybody else is saying about finances at the moment. Every time you turn on the TV or go into the news, there's always some drama about, everyone losing their jobs, or, everybody's, the cost of living crisis in Australia or whatever it is. That could be really sort of coming in and affecting the way you feel about yourself on the daily. People could be coming to you and just full on opening up about how, they're afraid to lose their job, they're afraid to lose their house, that sort of thing. You could be seriously thinking about how you could do cost cutting. And see, that never helps, interesting, never hurts to look at, saving. If you don't need things, like you don't need Netflix, or you don't need to buy excess of whatever it is, or not be eating, grand food every week. You can eat baked beans on toast one night or something like that. But, I mean, that's always helpful. But it's also a case of what do you expect from your life, how much money you expected and how much the money is there can actually be a disparity at this time between what you expect and what is. A humbling, I hear. And it's got a lot to do with work. You envisioned that a line of work was going to bring you a lot more money than you expected. But now's the time to actually look at doing what you love for a living instead of what society expects you to do for a living. What's the thing that lights up your world? Really, truly lights you up. When people ask you questions about your job, do you end up sort of grumbling about it, but then they ask you about your hobbies and you're elated and excited and inspired? Follow that. Follow the inspiration. Follow the spark, the drive, I really love doing gardening, or I really love painting, or, follow those things. Do more of those things. Focus more on those things. It might seem contrary, because if you're in a really concern about, whether you're going to be able to pay the bills or anything like that, you'd be hyper focused on that. But you've been asked by your spirit team to actually focus on what's bringing in joy. And see, a lot of the time, joy can come from not necessarily having to spend money. Like, you could go instead of eating lunch inside, you could take yourself on a picnic. Instead of hopping in the car and going do something, you could take yourself for a walk. Instead of going to the gym, you could take yourself for a walk, even a brisk walk, things that don't necessarily cost money. Go outside in the sunshine and have lunch outside, example, make yourself a picnic in the backyard. Look up at the trees, look up at eat outside at night, look up at the stars. Back to basics, simple things of nurturing yourself and enjoying yourself, but less expectation that you need to spend a whole heap of money to go do it. I need this outfit, these shoes, this, that, all the rest of it to keep up with the Joneses, I hear as well. Don't worry about other people's expectations. If you're surrounded by people that you have the perceived idea that they're doing a lot better than you, that's fine. Let them. You do you. And you go by what you expect from life, what you want from life, that sort of thing. There's going to be a lot of communication around it, particularly with family and friends here. But in that communication is when you're going to get the inspiration. Start a YouTube channel about your loves, Start to vlog your daily occurrences. Start a book club, start a garden group. Could be anything. Because it's all the building up of all the little things that bring you joy. cook something at home and really enjoy it. You know, don't go for more simpler recipes, not ones that need 16 expensive ingredients, you know, because it's the small little joys that add up to bring a happy, fruitful life. And they can add up. But the more you hyper focus on a perceived lack and which way to go, what will I do, that sort of thing is going to leave you feeling very much in lack and then making choices from lack. Because now's the time to transform. These two cards come up all the time at the moment. Transformation, changes within, bringing you many blessings and past lovers. In the past, your life may have been very different. You might have been in a relationship with somebody and you had two incomes. But maybe this relationship has transformed into a state where you are by yourself now and you can't afford the luxuries that you might once have been able to afford. That's okay. It's just I'm hearing recombobulation. Wow, what a big word. I'm not even sure if that is a word. But a change of expectations. I'm not even sure if recombobulation means that, but anyway, that's what I'm hearing. Change of expectations on what you expect from life. You know, you might not be going on European holidays anymore. You might be, you know, having holidays at home, those sorts of things. But in that holiday at home, do things that are interesting and fun. Get to know your local area. Get to know your people in your local area. I also hear food swap. Grow something in your yard or your balcony or something like that you don't have to go to the shops for. It could be basil or parsley or a couple of tomatoes or whatever it is, and then swap with somebody else to get other things. And that makes everybody's life richer. You become richer in your interactions with other humans. You become richer in the different foods you eat, and all the food that you swap is all local food, so it's made for our bodies in the local environment. All these flow-on effects. Less money to corporations. Also, walking. Very important, not driving everywhere. Walking, if you can, if you have the luxury to do so. Walking with your feet on the ground if you have the luxury to do so instead of shoes. Give your creativity the space it needs to flourish. That's right. Turn off the TV at night, I hear. Put down the iPad or the phone and actually start to pick up the drawing pad or the notebook and start to jot down, you know, start to write that book or start to do that painting or start to do that craft piece or start to create something physical in the world will make such a big difference. Start that sideline job. You know, make something and sell it on Etsy, I hear. Give your creativity the space it needs to flourish. So when you're hyper-focused on having to achieve and aspire and do, that's where all the energy goes. What you've been asked to do is turn it back around and start to give space to yourself, a bit of time where you're not hyper-focused on the problem. You're more focused on your breath, your body, your spirituality, and out of that comes the ability to start to create, come back into the world, I'm hearing, and less in the ethers. Connect back with Mother Nature. Come into reality, I'm also hearing. They're not mincing words today, are they? Let's have a look. Getting advice for you, beautiful Cancer. And what's the reality you want to create here? You've got a lot to give the world. And the world needs you to be you. and not try and be what society expects you to be, or family expects you to be, or other, trying to keep up with the Joneses, I keep on hearing. Well, the Joneses could be so much in debt, they just look like they're wealthy. There's a lot of people out there that have got all the trappings, the nice house, the nice car, the holidays, the clothes, the blah, blah, blah. But there's a lot of people out there that's all smoke and mirrors. It's all on credit. Massive mortgage, car loans, and everything's bought on credit cards, So if you've got less, but you own it all, and you're just trying to save a little bit, and you may not be able to go on those overseas holidays and all the rest of it, great. I support myself in making the right choices for me, absolutely, and not what society says you should do. I am incredibly capable whenever I encounter a challenge in my life. I use the experience to learn and grow. My past is part of the richness and fullness of life. Without my past, mistakes and all, I would not be here today. I love myself for my willingness to learn and grow. It's learn and grow, learn and grow. And I am safe and secure in my world. I choose to believe that everyone is always helpful. Therefore, wherever I go in life, people are there to help me. You could be feeling very alone in this, but no, you are certainly not alone. Your spirit guides, your ancestors are right there beside you, cheering you on. And I think we're all being asked at the moment, it seems to be coming through very clear from Spirit, we're all being asked to pare things back to the bare essentials. What really matters. Less consumerism. Do all things in moderation. That's right. All things in moderation. So be careful where you're hyper-focusing your attention at the moment and perceived lack. Any more advice, please, for beautiful Cancer? Begin to explore and go with the flow. Begin to explore different ways of being, different things to do. Start to do things like they used to do, I hear. A lot of people would repair, make, build, repurpose. My grandmother was a big one. She's coming through right now, beautiful lady. Coming through right now to mention that she never used all of anything at once. She always left a bit, whatever the thing is. Always leave a bit. Like if there was only enough flour for a recipe to do, she'd always leave a tablespoon or two of flour because it can thicken a sauce the next day, but you won't notice it in the cake, that sort of thing. Always leave a little bit. Instead of taking that little bit more, take that little bit less. And things go a lot further. Don't be afraid to use your body. My nan was a big one for getting up and sweeping the back path. Every single day where there was a leaf on it or anything. It didn't matter. And I often asked her, what are you doing this for? Do you really need to be sweeping the path every day? She goes, it's part of my routine. And if I stop moving, I'll stop. So it's also a case of before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. Sometimes we think spiritual awakenings we're going to be incredibly bountiful and rich beyond our wildest dreams, and everything will fall into our lap. But after a while, you soon realize that we are still humans living a human experience on this beautiful planet Earth. And we still need to care for basic needs: clothing, shelter, food. And there's something humbling, but also something so beautiful about doing the basic things. The Buddhists are really big believers in, spirituality is in the simple tasks. Doing your dishes. Watch your hands as you do your dishes. Watch your feet as you walk on the ground. Don't expect riches literally to fall from the sky. The riches are in the everyday moments. So instead of striving and grasping and running after the societal riches that are sort of dangled in front of us, it's best to be more humble and quiet about what you have as well. Let everybody boast. I'm also hearing, let them boast. People that are boasting the loudest, I'm also hearing, are the people that have the least. The ones that have the most don't need to boast because they sit in that quiet knowing. So that's something that's been asked of you at the moment, is to sit in quiet knowing. The knowingness that by doing all things in moderation, you support yourself in making the right choices. And the past is part of the richness and fullness of life. So learn from the past, how people used to do things. There's going to be a massive resurgence. Back in the day, you could have knitted things. You might start to take that back up again. Start a YouTube channel about knitting, anything. Yeah. Start a cooking channel. Could be anything. There's money coming from other sources and richness coming from other sources than just going out into the system, working for the man, striving. By this age, you've got to have this amount of money, you've got to have this much in your super, you've got to have, a holiday house and a Lamborghini by now. Whatever. So yeah, that's what you're being asked, to realise that you are incredibly rich just as you are, and to be absolutely thankful for what you do have right this moment. If you have a roof, if you have food in your belly, you have clothes, be very thankful for them. And know that the more thankful you are for what you have, the more the universe will bring more to you. It's, gratitude it's worth its weight in gold. So yeah, be very thankful for what you do have, and work on your skills, and work on the things that really bring you joy and happiness at the moment. Focus on them. Cultivate a lightness of heart. All right. Any more advice, please? Choose wisely. So many choices in this world, isn't there? My school friends say this, my work colleagues say that, my family says this, past me said that, neighbourhood people say this. Everyone can have an opinion on which way to go. It's never good to ask other people what's the best way to go. Know yourself that you will make the right choice for you at the right time. And just sit back in the knowing. Less probing and questioning all the different ways. have a more lightness of heart at the moment. So you can take flight and look at all the choices from a much more higher perspective. Look down upon the choices instead of being in the middle of the choices. And it can be a very difficult thing to do when you're right in the middle of the drama, the needing to pay the bill, the whatever it is. But know that you will make the right choice, and you're also being asked to make a choice, not just sit on the dock here unable to make a choice. It is time to make a choice. And that choice is to choose you and choose what you love to do. Chop wood, carry water, do the basics, and the rest will follow. That song. Free your mind and the rest will follow. I really hope that helped. I've got some live readings. I've got some readings available if you'd like to check the description box, if you'd like to get your own personal reading. And I'd just like to say thank you so much. I love you all, and bye for now.